chapter 10, verse 5. So God says, he is the one who made the sun glow and the moon as a light, and estimated it, not the sun, estimated the moon, because that's the reason why the moon has positions. You can check the timetable calendar, how the moon moves. You see it by the positions. Then he says, so that you, he does the positions, so that you people may know the number of years and calculation. God did not create these except for the truth. He explains the signs for people who know, not those who don't know. Who don't know, put them on the side. Okay. Now, the reason why somebody like me, babashuaib, I am convinced that this Ramadan is the real month of Ramadan. I'm going to prove to you now. Now, when you go to Quran chapter 8, verse 41, and know that whatever you capture of spoils, then indeed 1/5 is for God and for the messenger, and for the relatives and the orphans and the poor people and the wayfarer. If you believe in God and what we have revealed to our servants on the day of the criterion. Then God says, the day the two assembles met, and God is capable of all things. Arabic. God says here, he says, Wama anzalna ala abdina yawm al-furqan. Now the Furqan has a definite article. Al-Furqan has a definite article. If you go to Quran chapter 25 verse 1, it talks about the Al-Furqan, that God revealed the Al-Furqan to his servants, which is Muhammad, peace be upon him. Quran chapter 2 verse 185, it talks about the Quran bearing the Al-Furqan. So the Al-Furqan is in the Quran also. It was revealed as part of the Quran. Okay. So now, God is telling the believers, he says, if you believe in God and what we have revealed to our servants on the day of the criterion, the Al-Furqan, the day the two assembles met. So this is a representative event that can be spotted on the calendar, because God mentioned that, and what we have revealed to our servants. He's telling the believers to remember, it is a day, and a day can be found in a week, and a week can be found in a month, and a month can be found on a calendar. So it was in the month of Ramadan, God revealed the Al-Furqan. So this, the day of Al-Furqan, the day the two assembles meet. You want to know the extra reasons behind the meeting? It is the Battle of Badr. Quran chapter 3 verse 123. Start from 121. You see when the two assembles met, what happened on that day. Now, when you check the history of Badr, I give everybody watching, Google the date of the Battle of Badr. Just Google the date, only the date, not the story. The story can be found in the Quran. You are not looking for the story outside. The story of the Battle of Badr is found in the Quran. Don't go reading the story outside, but go for the dates. Events, just like we have the event of World Trade Center. When you mention World Trade Center, everybody knows September 11th. So it is an unforgettable day. Likewise, the Battle of Badr is one of the biggest days in the history of the Prophet and the believers next to him when they fought the mushriks. You understand? So this Battle of Badr, ladies and gentlemen, kindly Google the dates and start typing to me the Battle of Badr, the dates. Stop typing to me right now, and I'm going to show you something interesting. Just like your birthday, the date you were born, the date you were born on earth, it can be traced on a calendar. That date can be traced wherever you go. It is there, right? The date you were born. It can be traced on a calendar. Wherever you go, it is there. It will not get missing. So please, type down on the screen, show me the date of the Battle of the Badr. I'm going to show you something. That is the day the Battle of Badr happened. It is a famous day in history when the Muslims fought against the mushriks. And they won. God gave them victory. You want to understand the fight, read chapter 8 and chapter 3. Start from 120 downwards. You see the history there. But that date, God says the believer should remember the day he revealed the Al-Furqan to his servants. On that day, Check it. I want to show you something. So March 13th, 624 CE, that is Julian calendar. That is if you convert the date from the Arabian calendar. In the Hijri calendar, it is 17th of Ramadan, the second year after Hijri. This Hijri calendar, which is now 1,445 years, you can Google it. Ask your Google, which year of the Hijri calendar are we now? We are in 1,445 years. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used the same calendar, Hijri calendar Arabians are using now. Yeah? In that calendar, they fought on the 17th of Ramadan, second year after Hijr, they fought the Battle of Badr, which is a famous fight in the history, just like World Trade Center. September 11th is an unchangeable date in history. Remember that. The story of what transpired is in the Quran, but the date is unchangeable. You can't change the date. Even if you change it, it can be traced, because you are not the only one who witnessed it in your room. It's a date everybody in the world witnessed it. You understand? And the Arabians used to be the dominant force in the world, just like now America and Russia are claiming to be the world superpowers. The Arabian force used to be the dominant force in the world, which they even colonized some parts of the Europe as well. Read the history for yourself. But now I'm only helping you to not have doubt concerning the Ramadan, that the month you are seeing next week is the month of Ramadan. There's nothing changed. I'm going to help you to see that. Okay. So we are in 1,445 Hijr calendar. But the day God revealed the Al-Furqan to the prophets, that day it is the day of the Battle of Badr. That day you cannot change it in history. It's there. You can't change it. Right? Okay. The Julian calendar, this common era calendar, has been edited, and that is why today we are using Gregorian calendar, the most famous calendar on earth right now, which is based on the solar. So I'm going to read an article for you to understand. Now, when we say the Julian calendar is a solar calendar of 365 days in every year, with an additional leap day every 4 years. Without exception, the Julian calendar is still used as a religious calendar in parts of the Eastern Orthodox Church and in parts of the Oriental Orthodoxy, as well as the Amazigh people. The Julian calendar was proposed in the 46 BC by Julius Caesar as a reform of the earlier Roman calendar, which was largely a lunisolar calendar, right? It took effect on the 1st of January 45 BC. Now, by his edict, Caesar's calendar became the predominant calendar in the Roman Empire, and subsequently most of the Western world for more than 1,600 years, until 1582, when Pope Gregory, named Ugo Boncompagni, right, was head of the Catholic Church. Then he says what? Promulgated a revised calendar. Now, the Julian calendar has two types of years: a normal year of 365 days and a leap year of 366 days. They follow a simple cycle of 3 normal years and 1 leap year, giving an average year that is 365.25 days long. That is more than actual solar year. Value of approximately 2,422 days. The current value, which varies, which means the Julian calendar gains 1 day every 129 years. In other words, the Julian calendar gains 3.1 days every 400 years. Now, listen to why they changed the Julian calendar and start using Gregorian calendar, because there was an error. Okay. Gregori's calendar reform modified the Julian rule to reduce the average length of the calendar year from 365.25 days to 365.2425 days, and thus corrected the Julian calendar's drifts against the solar year. The Gregorian calendar gains just 0.1 day over 400 years. For any given event during the years from 1901 through 2099, we are going forward, its date according to the Julian calendar is 13 days behind. So now, Julian calendar, if we are still supposed to use it today, it will be 13 days behind as compared to the Gregorian calendar we are using today. So if you calculate Julian calendars today, it is 13 days behind. Okay. It is behind its corresponding Gregorian dates. For instance, Julian 1st January falls on Gregorian 14th January. Most Catholic countries adopted the new calendar immediately. That is why Gregorian has been popular, because the Catholics went all over the world to dominate certain places. That's why we are, even including Ghana, we are using Gregorian calendar. Okay. Protestant countries did so slowly in the course of the following 2 centuries or so. Most Orthodox countries retained Julian calendar for religious purposes, but adopted the Gregorian as the civil calendar in the early part of the 12th century. Now, when I told you to check the date of Battle of Badr, when you check, you gave me 13th March 624 Julian calendar, common era. Now I'm going to show you how to convert the dates. This is a date converter page. I'm going to show you something interesting to show you that Ramadan, the month of Ramadan you are seeing, is the real Ramadan according to the 1445 years of the Hijri calendar. Now this is, you go to calendarhome.com. I'm going to show you how to convert dates and be consistent with time to understand that the time Prophet Muhammad existed, the Hijri calendar he was using is still consistent till today, right? Today in the Hijri calendar, we have 1445 years in the Hijri calendar. Google it for yourself. Now, the famous events which ever happened during the time of Muhammad against the Mushriks was the Battle of Badr. It is a famous event in history. Just like the World Trade Center, September 11th is a famous event in history. You can't change the date. Even if the world should stop using the Gregorian calendar today, bang, we can still trace it. Because history has the dates written down. You can't change it. It's a famous event. Just like the Battle of Badr is a famous event. Right? Okay, now Google the Battle of Badr, the dates, not the story, the date. Google it. It will give you 13th of March, 624, common era, Julian calendar. Because at that time, Julian calendar was being used by the Catholics and so on. Right? Whilst the, how do you call it? The Arabians were using the Hijri calendar at that time. So I quoted chapter 8, verse 41. In chapter 8, verse 41, God is telling the believers to remember what he revealed to his servant on the day of the Al-Furqan. You know the Al-Furqan? Go to chapter 25, verse 1. Al-Furqan. That's the criterion. So God revealed to his servant. And he's telling the believers to remember the day he revealed that Al-Furqan to him. Okay. Now, this Al-Furqan, listen carefully. If you go to Quran chapter 8, verse 41, it is the day the 2 parties met for fight. That fight in history is called the Battle of Badr. This Battle of Badr is so famous in history, you can't change the date. It's there. It happened on the 17th of Ramadan, 2nd year after Hijr. Google it for yourself and see. When you convert that date, at that time, they were using the Julian calendar by the Catholics. The Julian calendar was 13th March, 624, common era. That is the Julian calendar. Okay, now, I'm going to help you understand it on the screen. This was the date, 624 March, and then 13th. Now, look at here. They say Islamic date, but that is what we call the Hijri calendar. The reason why they call it Islamic date, because people have been calling it Islamic calendar, and it's remained. But it's actually called Hijri calendar. This Hijri calendar, when you take the date of Badr, it happened on the 17th of Ramadan, second year after Hijr. When you convert it to the Julian calendar, you have 624, the year 624, common era, March 13th. But I just explained to you how Julian calendar was skipped because of the errors they have, and then they started using Gregorian calendar. So Gregorian calendar, there is a difference between Gregorian calendar and Julian calendar now, 13 days difference. Because the Julian calendar initially was based on solar. Then the Gregorian calendar was adjusted to start using lunar and solar calendar so that they can adjust the days. Do you understand me? That's why sometimes they have the leap year. Okay. Now, since we have stopped using Julian calendar, most of the parts of the world have stopped using Julian calendar. We are using Gregorian calendar. In Gregorian calendar now, right? If we should say we are going to use Julian calendar still till today, we are using Julian calendar. This is what the date will be. It will be like this. I'm going to show you. 2024 Julian calendar, then March, right? And then today is what? 6, right? Then it will be 1445, the year of the Hijri calendar. The month will be Ramadan, and the day will be 90, day number 9. But the reason why the Julian calendar is not being used, because it has been edited, so 13 days backwards, when we compare to the Gregorian calendar. Now we are using Gregorian calendar in the world. So I'm going to put that correct date for the Gregorian calendar. Up here, Gregorian calendar is 2024 March, and today is what? 6. So let's put it on 6. Today you have 25th of Sha'aban, then you have 1145. Now I'm going to show you the difference. You will see that there is a difference of number of days between this to the 6 days up there. So you have 13 days difference. Do you understand? There will be difference of days in the Julian calendar with the Gregorian calendar. There is 13 days difference just because of the leap year. So there's a 13 days difference. Okay. Now, here, see this thing here. When you start counting, and let's say we are going to use the Gregorian calendar, and I'm going to put 12. Let's say we are starting Ramadan on the 12th. Here. What you find is 1145, the month is Ramadan, and the day is 2nd. If we stand on the 11th of March, you will have 1445, that's the year of the Hijri calendar. The month is Ramadan, and then the day is 1. So assuming if the abstinence starts on the 11th of March, you will have it in the calendar Ramadan. Now, when you start counting from that year, the Julian calendar, 624 common era, when you start counting, it is consistent till today because it's 13 days backwards compared to the Gregorian calendar, right? It is consistent. But today we are not using Julian calendar. So we are using Gregorian calendar. You understand? That date, the Hijri calendar has 1445 years, is consistent with time because the day Prophet Muhammad received the Al-Furqan is a known day which the Battle of Badr happened. That is the day he received the Al-Furqan, according to Quran chapter 8, verse 41. The believers know that, and it's a famous day in history because there was a fight of Badr. So that is why you use the Battle of Badr as a yardstick to understand in which months the Prophet received the Al-Furqan. Do you understand this? So now, next week, we are in the month of Ramadan, according to the lunar calendar, the Hijri calendar. It is consistent. There is nothing like people telling you, oh, because the name of the month means Ramadan, Ramadan means summer. Summer, then what about Ghana? Do you think Ghana has a season called summer? So if you say summer, which of the summer? Australian summer? Or is it Canadian summer? Or Finland summer? Which of the summer? So what are you talking about? Some people who say the scorching heat, whatever. Just ask them a simple question. Battle of Badr, has it existed or not? If yes, which date? You don't know? Ask them September 11. Has it existed or not? If yes, which date? Which date? Let's assume you weren't there. Are you saying it never happened? So are you going to tell us Battle of Badr never happened? If you are following the book of God, you have to wait till you spot the crescent. When you spot the crescent, yes, you can start wherever you are. That's why it says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهَرِ. The shahr goes with the moon. That is why Quran chapter 2 verse 189 tells you about the ahillat. Quran chapter 2 verse 189, it says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. They ask you about the crescents. Ahillat is a plural form from the word hilal. Ahillat, we are talking about the crescent. We have the waxing crescent, the waning crescent. There are different types of crescents. So when they ask you about the crescents, which some people will say new moons, say they are timings for the what? People and the Hajj. That is what the ahillat are used for. They are timings. You don't need to go and search the moon. Wherever you are, when you enter that month, you witness the crescent. It will appear. Maybe the second day you see it in the sky. You don't need to go anywhere searching for it. Right? You will see it in your country, wherever you are. If Australia happens to see the crescent today, Germany might see it tomorrow. That's how it works. Don't go searching for it. It didn't get lost. It will appear for you to see it. Nowhere did God say, go and search for the moon. Gone are the days these people will tell us they are searching for the moon. Why? Where did it go? Where? Where are you searching for it? Facebook or where? Wherever you are, it will be time for you to see it. Yeah? If Saudi Arabia see it today, that's not your palava source. Wait till you see it. That's why God says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ. Because it is not all of us who witness it the same time. So when the month comes, the only way, remember, Quran chapter 17 verse 36, وَلَا تَخْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. Somebody will say, what if I'm blind? Is it the country you are, everybody is blind? Hey, you're asking me what if you are blind? You are blind. Everybody is blind. Huh? So we use the crescent as a timing to know the beginning of the month and the end of the month. You understand? So that as soon as we enter into the month of Ramadan, you know, look, the whole world, there's no other calendar which has the month called Ramadan except the Hijri calendar. And Prophet Muhammad used it whether you like it or not. We are in the 1445 years. The calendar is consistent. If you don't believe in calendar, bring your own. Let's see. No problem. And start counting. And change your birthday. Remove your date of birth from your passport. Change it, create your own and give it a name, because the Ethiopians, everyone, they have their own.